Alrighty guys, good morning, Matt Grabowski here. And today we are going to talk about movement and exercise and how this relates to my current goals with trying to be as happy and as healthy for the longest amount of time. So essentially my goal with this short video, hopefully we keep this around 10 minutes, 15 minutes long, is to describe to you guys, number one, how my view of movement, of exercise in the short term and also the long term has changed, kind of about the philosophy and different movement camps that I've been looking into and creating my own philosophy of that. Also, how I actually apply this in the gym, maybe what I don't do anymore and what I do more of now. And, specific examples of like sets, supersets, rep schemes, weights, workout styles. I don't really have anything planned for this, but I'm just going to go off the riff. So we'll see how we get to that. And then, we'll see where that takes us. So number one, my goal is very specific in a sense of I'm trying to mix a form of athleticism that also keeps me strong and resilient for the longest amount of time. So I'm not going and trying to be the bulkiest, biggest, strongest person. I'm also not trying to be the most flexible, most supple, not taking any risks in terms of movement exercise. I'm trying to have a balance so that I can be healthy in my pursuits of athleticism. And mainly that stems from playing ice hockey, playing spike ball, playing tennis, running around, and kind of a mix of a bunch of other sports. And also being like capable enough to have fun on my own and run upstairs and be fine and not worry about getting injured. Now, a little bit of a background, something that plays a big role in this and what makes my situation very unique is, what year was this? So it was in 7th grade. So that means I was 13. So that means it was 2008. So 13 years ago, yeah, that sounds about right. Around 13 years ago, I was snowboarding, first run of the day. I was going in through the woods and I hit a tree going like probably 15, 20 miles per hour, shattered my right femur in 2 pieces, ended up getting surgery that next day, got a titanium rod put through my femur, pins in my knee, pins in my hip to hold that in place. And so I rehabilitated from that. Didn't have a ton of issues. After a year, I was in a wheelchair for like 4 or 5 months, and then I was on crutches for 6 months after that. So that was hell. But more so what really occurred was when I started getting into it was CrossFit. It was CrossFit, kind of more of a, not so much of a competition CrossFit, more of like strength and conditioning based. And then working out on my own after that in college, I started getting really bad back pain and muscular imbalances, and that really affected me. And then probably for in the past 4 years, I've had probably 3 or 4 bouts of very acute, very short-lived in the instance of knee pain. Essentially, something happens where it literally feels like my VMO, which is where all my issues occur now, is it almost feels like the pins in my knee are rubbing up against the muscle, and I get this really deep level of inhibition. And the last time it happened, this was this is way more than a year ago. Oh wait, no, it was this year. It was at the beginning of this year in January. I was doing a workout outside. I was throwing tires around, and something I did a lot back then. I have not done a tire throw since. It's not that hard. I literally was just throwing tires like that, like a chop exercise. And it literally felt like my inner thigh muscle pulled off the bone. For about a minute, I thought that's what happened. And I couldn't walk. My whole knee went numb. I literally couldn't feel my fingers on it. It really freaked me out. I also was on a little cannabis at the time too, so that freaked me out a little more. But since then, I had to move my apartment. I got cheap shotted in hockey. That's a different story. Some dude, essentially, long story short, behind the play, by no means of me doing anything except him taking a penalty on me like an idiot and me talking shit to him, decided to, while my back was turned, push my knee out from under me. Happened to be the same knee that was injured about 3 months earlier than that, and I'd just gotten back to playing hockey. So that compounded it. So this leads me to a place of, okay, I do not like being injured. Until you actually get injured and you're immobile, and you, especially like lower body injuries, but upper body injuries as well, you don't realize how, like, you start to be so careful about every step you take because you have to. Otherwise, fuck, I could wreck my knee again. Like, this could happen all over again if I'm not paying attention walking up this stair and I slip a little bit or just my ankle's a little off. So, that's kind of the background of, all right, so I'm already 6 minutes in. Let's see if we can wrap this up. We'll make it more like 15. So that's kind of the background of like how this philosophy has came about. I have a deep kind of traditional strength and conditioning background. I was fortunate enough to be a part of Umberger's Performance Gym in Pittsburgh, which had a lot of Penguins, Steelers, Pirates athletes there, as well as a very deep ice hockey background, and several people that were training there with me are in the NHL now. So it was some high class athletes, and I learned good stuff. It was dry land. It was good proper form in the bench, in cleans, in not so much snatches, in running drills, dry land drills, wall ball drills, traditional high level athletics in the gym that you might see at a collegiate or professional level. And then in college, I did more CrossFit. I was studying kinesiology at the time, so I was still very interested, looking up to several people, kind of putting my own spin on it. Then I started working out by myself. And then I went to the Czech Institute after school, which taught me how to, on a very deep scientific level, break down movement into push, pull, lunge, squat, hinge, gait, run, jog, how to analyze posture and imbalances in the system. And now I'm moving more into, I went very, very complex, and now I'm moving back down into almost simplicity. And it's really interesting. And the two camps I've been paying attention to the most are Weck Method is a really cool one, which I've been enjoying, started by David Weck. And then also, I guess it's just called Goda, Goata. And this is the one that I've been fascinated with over the past couple months. And yeah, this is how I kind of mix this traditional strength and conditioning with being resilient, not focusing so much on how much weight is in your hands and how much you're cleaning, but how are you moving? Let's actually take videos of you. Okay, you say you can do these squats, fine, but what are you training for? Oh, you're training for professional spike ball. Okay, let's take a video of you when you're playing spike ball. Hold on one second. All right, let's take a video of you when you're playing spike ball. Oh, your knee collapses in and your ankle collapses every single time? And your knee's killing you on that side, and it seems to happen right when that happens? Well, why don't we fix that? Why are we focusing on doing these, these big massive lifts and all this weight when you're your actual security, your actual foundation of your gait cycle, of how you move, of the security system of the beautiful ankle, knee, and the hip that is the foundation of how we evolved as humans to walk, run, and throw, and the shoulder complex that all moves in this singular unit, in this nice little wave system to create power safely and effectively. It's not working well, so why don't we train that? So that's what this Goda, the Weck Method helped me transition all of my traditional movements into movements that have a short and a long side. So you see, if you ever see me doing the rope, that is something I learned from the Weck Method camp. just like when I'm doing rows and doing all exercises that I'm not linear anymore. I'm not like a block, like a Lego man moving, right? That's not how we move. We move in this flowy aspect, and it kind of goes with the Goda. And from what I understand, the Goda and the WEC method camp like were together for a while, and they disagreed. Like their head of, their CEOs disagreed, and they split off in this feud. I don't know. I'm not trying to get into that. And I'm not subscribing to one camp or the other. I'm just being honest about it. But what I really enjoy about the Goda camp is, number one, they base their, essentially what the Goda has helped me do is realize we should pay more attention to how our ankle is actually functioning, how that relates to knee position, hip position, and spinal position related to movement, okay? It doesn't matter how much Saquon Barkley can clean if every time he cleans, right? So if you've seen the videos of Saquon Barkley, and who I went to Penn State, if you don't know that, and he was a Penn State running back, so I like using this example. When he cleaned up, and then he collapses in and brings it up this way. Yeah, he can do 400 pounds, right? But this is not good. This ankle collapse, this knee goes in, and this reaction at the hip is not good, because then when he's running, he plants and pop, shredded ACL, pop, destroyed ankle, okay? And that's what happened to him. So let's stop with all the bullshit and let's just keep people safe, because the worst thing that can happen to you in your life, whether you're an athlete, whether you're an older adult, whether you're a young adult, whether you're a 30-something-year-old guy who's just trying to be athletic so he can play with his kids, with his friends, and his rec league, he can enjoy life and be, have this little adjunct of his life be sports and working out, while also helping him thrive in his professional life. Being injured wrecks all of that, okay? So what Goda does is, let's specifically focus on the ankle, knee, and hip joint. Let's do exercises that don't drive the heel into the ground, because we're not made to. The heel is made to be a fulcrum, so that you can be springy on. If you ever watch athletes, like, they don't run with their heels down. They're always up, right? And focusing on what they call the bow, keeping this nice bow. And then the trailing leg is the corner. So, and this is how we run. And just do, I don't want to necessarily go into all the deep details of it. But personally for me, I had to, what they call a recode. I had to sacrifice. I was fucking in pain. And it's it's not worth me. Why don't I actually just stop doing the workouts and start doing this more mobility-based program that was 3-4 times a day, like a 15-20 minute mobility ground-based exercise program to get my knees in line, to get my ankles in line, to put a ton of reps into the system, to recode my nervous system to say, we keep our ankles like this. We do not let our ankles collapse in. And it's so crazy when I walk around the gym today. How many people are there with the Goda Camp? They're WODAs. They're the worst athlete of all time athletes. Their ankles collapse in, their knees collapse in, they're front chain dominant, meaning they sit like this. Their rib cage is in front of their hips. How many times do you see people, or they're doing squats and they're literally that? Okay, cool. You can squat 400 pounds. I don't give a fuck about that. How often in my life am I gonna have to put more than 250 pounds on my back? God forbid I have to carry somebody. You're right, fair enough, but number one, I think I could do that. I'm trained in other ways to do that type of stuff. Besides the point, I want to train to be happy. I want to train to be healthy long term. Being able to deadlift 500 pounds really doesn't help you when you can't walk, okay? It really doesn't help you 30 years down the line that congrats, dude. You lifted all that weight. Now look at you. You need knee replacements, you need hip replacements, your spine's all fucked up, you need to get 5 surgeries. Like, was it worth it? Was it worth it? And most people they're not training for anything. They're just training to look good and feel good. And like bodybuilding stuff, which is completely fine. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm saying you're doing more damage than you think you are. And then we take medications, we take painkillers, we numb the pain, we use Theraguns to numb the pain. Like, no, your body really isn't made to feel that way. It's made to feel good. It's made to, when you exercise and do stuff, you should feel better afterwards. Like, you should feel enlightened, you should feel better, you should feel decompressed, not compressed in your spine. You shouldn't be in pain afterwards. Getting hot. So, and as far as how this has affected my exercises, I'm doing a lot of sled pushes now instead of like tons of lunges. And when I do lunges, I find that Goda bow and corner, I'm not doing as much. I'm focusing a lot on my ankle position, making sure that I keep it every single rep is good. And if they're not good, recover for a few seconds. And if I can't keep it up, then I gotta take a break and I gotta do less weight, or I need to downgrade to a different exercise that I can keep good form at. Lots of sled pushes for my lower body stuff. But I got a big lower body. I'm strong in my lower body. And honestly, like, I want a better upper body and a better core and a safer core. So I've been doing lots of single arm pushes, single arm pulls. And then I've been doing that for a while, but now I'm just hyper focused on how is my ankle focusing? Like, am I letting my ankle collapse inward? Okay, if not, how can I set up these angles so that my knees function a little better? And then when I'm bench pressing, just keeping good position and just being a little bit more cognizant of, okay, I'm in this for the long haul. Like, I saw this quote the other day. It was really good. It was, one workout, won't completely make your goal of doing all this, maybe getting stronger, but one workout can completely kill it, right? That's like getting injured, meaning if I'm doing bench press or weighted push-ups, which is a really big one of mine, and I'll name some exercises that I've been doing recently too, but let's say I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do 12. And what did I do the other day? I think I did 80 pounds, which is a lot. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do 12. And I got 12 one set, and it was really tough. And the next set, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do 12 again. And I only got to 8. And I was like, that's all right. That's fine. I could have done 10, but I don't really need to push it. That's the point. It's like, this one workout, those extra 2 reps, they're not gonna make or break my goal, right? My goal is to be happy and healthy long term. They definitely could fuck that up. And I'm not saying that would have happened. I probably could have done those extra 2 reps, would have been fine. But you do that every week, once a week, again, you do that over a few months. Yeah, you can jack up your shoulder that way. And then, exercises I'm doing. Sled pushes, single arm, push, pull, cable pull. And then I'm doing close grip cable rows, lots of pull-ups. We have a rope machine at our gym, which is really nice. I can sit down, I can stand up, and get only those concentric contractions, which is pretty good. I pull sleds, I push sleds, straight upper body movements, doing lunges with kettlebells, cleans, landmine squats, short, nice isometrics, a ton of mobility work on the ground for my ankles, my knees, and my hips. Goda mobility stuff, not your traditional mobility stuff you might see. Weighted push-ups, landmine shoulder presses, and that's it. I stick to the basics. The funny thing is now this is different for everybody. Science shows that if you are an experienced weightlifter, you've been doing it for a few years, you actually do better by sticking with less exercises and more sets. And I find that works better for me too. So sometimes I will literally do 3 exercises for 40 minutes. Now I'll warm up beforehand and I'll do a cool down afterwards and I'm messing around in between. But yeah, I'll do 3 exercises and do 6 sets, and that's great for me. And that's all I need. I like the basics, to me, the basics. And then I've also been doing a little bit more cardio, traditional, not your traditional steady state cardio, but I'll do an assault bike for a couple sprints, a few minutes, and then I'll crawl on the ground. So I've been doing lots of crawling too, like what they call like the jaguar/bear crawl or the lizard crawl with bigger steps. It's really tough if you don't crawl. Like, just go try and crawl on the ground for like 20 yards and you'll be like, oh my God, this is really hard. And like, it's like, yeah, you should probably do that more often. Good for the shoulder, good for all the joints. It's a fucking killer core exercise too. Yeah, and then I'll just like interchange, and rather than doing like traditional cardio, there's a nice clock at my gym, like a big kind of like CrossFit looking clock. And I'll kind of just like arbitrarily, I'm just not in a mode right now where I want to like track a ton of things, but I will like set, like I did sled pushes, like every 30 seconds I did one thing for 6 times yesterday. And that's good enough for me. I'm just trying to time myself to keep my heart rate in this zone. And you can still do heavier lifts. Like then I'll do pull-ups and push-ups with that. I did that, I think it was like a week ago. So like not so much always moving, but I did like 5 pull-ups and then I did like 10 push-ups and I waited 30 seconds. 5 pull-ups, then 10 push-ups and I waited 30 seconds. Intertwined with like the sled pushes and the crawls and the cardio, the bike, the assault bike. So that's how I've been applying it. Like, I'm not here for short-term gratification. I'm here for long-term gains. And for me, and it's different for everybody, but I think most people do this. And okay, this is like what spurred it. I'm going to start doing more stuff like this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I see so many WODAs in the gym. And it's little things. It's not like the hardest things. It's like when people are doing like it's a lot of guys are doing like, I'll do like maybe like a single arm press. Do you see how this heel is up, right? I'm not planting this leg down. This causes so many injuries because my ankle is collapsing and it's not good biomechanics. You want to be up here, right? Right, butt back, and you can still do this chest press even if you're doing like a fly, right? So I see so many people, they plant and it's like, I just see so many, excuse my language, but I see so many fucking dumbasses in the gym. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how many people, and even the people with the trainers, like they're showing them dumb stuff. They're better. I was a little cynical at first, and I'm seeing better results in terms of my crunch trainers. And probably some people think I'm crazy, but that's what I'm doing. So hopefully you guys like this video. If you did, leave me a comment. I will read every single one, and I want you guys, let me know what you liked about this. If you have any questions about certain exercises, I can post videos specific to that. Like if you want to see like, what do you mean about like collapsing your ankle in? Like what is that about? Like I'll make a video specifically for you to talk about this. It gives me content. So I would really like that. I would appreciate it for you. If I'm making this content for you, or if I'm making content for you to watch for free, I'd appreciate it if you help me create more content for you. That's the value exchange. So yeah, fam, that's it. Hopefully you're all having an awesome week. We'll talk soon.